Spiritual Principles, Rabbi Michael-ben-Pesach, Portnaar. About the book. It is very important that you try to master the higher spiritual principles in all areas of our studies, in order not to stumble every time when you see one tree and then you see lots of other trees, but instead see a grove. So you do not need to ask every time, what is this? A tree? And what is that? Another tree? To know the principles, because the higher you go up the spiritual ladder, the more you relate to these principles. And the lower you go, you see more mundane variations, aspects, complicated concepts, situations, in short, particulars. So, the particular must always be seen as consisting of two, right and left. Then it must be raised in unity to the next higher level. And for this you need an insight that unites these two aspects of the private and gives you a general aspect. The highest spiritual principles are very important, very, very important, as there is no words to express how important they are in our studies and in general in the spiritual work that we do. It is very important, if you have time, then we write down some principles or emphasize these principles every time you encounter them in a text. For example, the principle, if the lower rises to the higher, it becomes as the higher. If the lower one causes the higher one to receive, then the lower one receives the same measure from the upper one. All these principles are very important to understand, realize, and apply. Then you will not get lost in such a large amount of vital information. The whole point of Kabbalah is to reduce all spiritual phenomena to surprisingly simple unity. For after all, the highest in all of this is simple, indivisible light. And this is what we're striving for. And at the same time, it is necessary to move up and down the spiritual ladder. When you go down the stairs, you see more advanced phenomena, more complicated phenomena. And then you can always rise and bring them into unity at a higher level. And this is the most important task. And then you can go down without losing the feeling of unity at any level that you descend to. You will not descend for a bad reason, not because of a fall, but by yourself. When you descend, you lower the light down through the middle line to yourself. Then you lower the already united phenomena, the concept, the sensation, onto the lower world, on which there was fragmentation. All this is brilliantly simple in principle, but it is necessary to carry out enormous work on oneself in order to spiritually detach yourself from the laws of earthly agony. On one hand, to remain in them, and on the other hand, to find the strength in each state to go beyond their influence. In order to launch a rocket, it is necessary to apply great force, but a much greater force must be applied above oneself, going higher than knowledge, in order to break away from the forces of gravity. Find a point in your heart, the epicenter of your spiritual perception organs, a point, and then gradually build Partsofim and the worlds, where you can live for eternity. That is, in existence that is beyond the limits of earth and space. This is called giving to the Creator. But even if we still cannot do this, then one of your motivations, the desire to go above reason, this is already the outline of the kilim, suitable for receiving the light of the Creator, and all good that is meant for you from above. So there is already a certain correspondence of properties with the Creator. You want to give, and He wants to give, and therefore you can meet with each other. You can meet with your Creator. Creator is one, unchanging, but you have your own Creator, corresponding to your knowledge, your kilim, in your perception and sensation. And gradually, He changes from your side as your perceptions change. The more you bring your properties into line with Him, the more He appears to you and removes the following garments, and then the following garments. From the gross He becomes clearer, more gracious, etc. And finally, I want to warn the reader that this book is a set of principles that are taken from all sections of our training in the Lurian Kabbalah. This book is not edited, as work on it continues, but even at this preliminary stage of its creation, it will be useful to the reader. Those principles that are not yet explained in it will give the ground for independent work on them and their practical application in everyday life. Good luck to you.